And we are once again live for the final time of the weekend. And wow, I think that's how you got to start out with a straight up wow. That was something. I'm gonna get everything on my end good. First off, I want to thank those who left super chats and gifted memberships. Eric W, thank you for gifting 10 new Iceberg memberships. Cool stuff coming this week. I'll send out a community post about it. For you members, be sure to like the stream. We're almost at 100, and I want to read these super chats, but we're going to go right after that into the 2023 Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix at Cota. So Agent Boyband SLG for 2 said, got to pick Priest, not Eric, for the suck pick on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Crashes every race. Maybe. And then Jared Davey, thank you for the 5. As nutty as the finish was, shout out to Larson for not giving up and finishing P14 after being 2 laps down. Congrats, Tyler, on the W. Nice. And by the way, we're already around 400 watching. I have the post race up on my phone, so if anything happens, we will talk about it to the minute that I see it. I gotta say, I'm happy for my dad. My dad is very much a Tyler Reddick fan, so got to have his favorite driver win today. But let's get into the finishing order of this race. So Tyler Reddick, as we have just talked about, Tyler Reddick got the victory at Cota in 2023. Kyle Busch got second. Alex Bowman, strong third place run. Second year, I believe, in a row of a top 5 finish. Top 3 finish for the 48 team. Then you got Ross Chastain in 4th. 5th, you got William Byron after a very strong race, getting a top 5. Proving he may be one of the championship favorites, I think, at this point. I don't think it's a may. I think it's... He, at this point, at least 6 races in, is. He has been solid everywhere they've went. Austin Cindric with a 6th place run. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 7th. 8th, Christopher Buescher. Ty Gibbs, a 9th place finish for the rookie today. And Todd Gilliland, a top 10. You know, you guys talked about in the chat during the podcast this past week that Todd Gilliland may be a good dark horse pick to pick each week. So good on you for that. Then you got Corey LaJoie, 11th. LaJoie continuing a career start to his season, and surely would be in the playoffs if they were to start today. Then you got Michael McDowell with the 12th place run. Solid run there. Kevin Harvick, 13th. Kyle Larson, who was my pick today, after a terrible race today, comes home with the 14th place run. And Chase Briscoe gets a top 15th today. Really quick, Hunter, thank you for the 2. Could Cota become a crown jewel race? I wouldn't go that far, but I gotta say, I do love me some Cota. Ross Crash Stain, they give her the 5. I told you all to pick the 48 over the 16, but no, chat knows better. Shaking my head, man. I mean, it could have been worse. You could have been like me and picked Alex Bowman to win the truck race that he didn't even make. So could go worse. But the rest of the finishing order we got here, let's close out the top 20. We got 16th place, Denny Hamlin. 17th place, Martin Truex Jr. Jenson Button with an 18th place run today in the Rick Ware car. Then Justin Haley, 19th, working on climbing over the 0 mark of points. And Noah Gragson, the other rookie, top 20 finish, 20th position for the 42 car for Legacy Motor Club. Then 21st, you've got Ryan Blaney. 22nd, Harrison Burton. Then you got 23rd is Eric Jones. Taylor in 24th. Ware, 25th. Josh Bilicki, 26th. Kimi Räikkönen comes home 27th. Then 28th, Daniel Suarez, and Joey Logano rounds out those on the lead lap, at least from what it looked like unofficially, with the 29th place run. The rest of these drivers were out or off at the end of the race, and they were as follows. Eric Almirola, 30th. Then you got Christopher Bell, 31st. Ryan Preece, 32nd. Austin Dillon, 33rd. AJ Allmendinger in 34th. 35th for Brad Keselowski. And then Daly in 36th. Bubba Wallace, we'll talk about Bubba in a bit. He got a 37th place run today. Then Jimmy Johnson with a 38th. And Ty Dillon rounds out the field. Thank you, Daniel, for that too. Perfect use of stage points. Green, white checker ruined the finish. We'll talk about green, white checkers in a moment. But for now, I am going to put up top. I'm going to actually turn my volume just a little bit because at least on my end, it's not working. But for now, let's have the unofficial results up top for the 2023 Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. If I misspell anyone's name, let me know. And we'll go from there. Adam, thank you for the $6.99 Canadian. One thing's for sure is no stage cautions is so much better. Okay, let's lead off with that one. This was the big storyline heading into the weekend. No stage yellows. We knew it was going to change the way that these races were run. Even if there's cautions around when a stage caution would be, you knew going into it that it was going to change how the crews and crew chiefs looked at it, how the drivers drove the race. And to me, that's fun. That's really, really fun. So I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the fuel strategy game up until I believe 12 to go when there was a caution. I enjoyed the pit maneuvering. I enjoyed all of it. Like, thoroughly enjoyed it. And to those of you who have been new here since 2016, this is how it used to be at road courses. And you know what? I'm fine with this at every track. Let's start a poll after I read GN NASCAR Fan 24's super chat here. Thank you very much. If you loved no stage cautions, let NASCAR know. If you hated overtimes, also let them know. I fall into both categories, and felt it was a good race. Yeah, and we'll get to the overtimes in a moment. But I'm gonna put up a poll right now. Do you want stage cautions removed from all tracks? Tracks. Boom. I don't know why I capitalized that. Let's just go with yes or no on this one. Asking you guys now. By the way, looking at the poll right now, we have the poll up at the moment. So be sure to vote on that one. We're clipping almost 100 votes a minute. So let's keep that up on the community tab. Already 132 comments in 15 minutes. There's going to be a lot of opinions on this race for sure. But let's go into just like kind of point by point how this race went. By the way, this race was 75 laps. There were 16 lead changes among 7 leaders, 8 cautions, and the race ran for 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 28 seconds. I will say this. Oh, and hi, Mittens, the racing cat. Good to see you. I will say this, that when the race's scheduled distance had hit, it was actually, I think, just under 3 hours. So we had basically an extra 30 minutes added of racing. And let's look at the poll right now. 86% of you want stage yellows removed from all tracks. 14% of you prefer stage yellows. Interesting. I'm going to go with the 86 on this one, or 85 at the moment. I cannot stand stage racing personally. So anything that can revert back in any ways to how NASCAR was before, I'll take. And I'm even fine, if you're going to keep it, having it under green like it was today. I prefer it. I think it was honestly weird how the stage 1 ending and the points given away by it all came down to how you jumped the restart and chose at the choose cone. That was weird. They might need to do something different for that. But if in that once in a probably blue moon case, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So looking at stage 1, and I'll get to that super chat in a moment, Doggo, I promise. Let's get through some stuff in stage 1. On lap 1, Jimmy Johnson, Ty Dillon, and Brad Keselowski crash. Jimmy and Ty are out. I don't think they were recorded as finishing a lap. I could be wrong. So lap 5, we get the restart. Cindric takes the lead, and by lap 7, you got people going around. The first big major incident outside, because I don't think there's much to say about Johnson crashing. Like, if you've watched since Pocono 2017, Jimmy Johnson he's crashed more than most. But the first bit of incident here, and I'll get to those super chats in a moment. But the first real big piece of incident that caused people to start talking was Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace had looked like brake issues, or had oil leaking from the car. I know on the rear view camera, people said there was oil leaking from the 23 car. But he goes in hot and he takes out Larson. He hits, I believe, Eric Jones, and it takes him out of the race. And the post wreck interview with Bubba Wallace was honestly, I think, in a lot of ways, like it's almost sad to see somebody that down on themselves, but at the same time, I think it also, in a lot of ways, it shows that he has a long way to go to be a competitive driver on the regular, even though it wasn't his fault. He was saying it was rookie mistakes for 2 weeks in a row, and maybe he should be replaced. And to me, I just, what does, I know that he's had issues with depression, and so I'm not gonna go like in hard like as a personal attack, more just on the racing front on this. What kind of message, I think, does that send to your team? To be that down, to be that defeated with that. I think that's something, his mentality, going the good and the bad. I think that his attitude towards it, his mentality, he needs to work on that. That needs to be something that maybe he talks to MJ about, or Denny Hamlin. I don't know. Actually, Denny Hamlin's probably not the best one, seeing how he is in crunch time. But that's definitely something that I think the driver of the 23 needs to work on a lot. Just because we saw last year, when his emotions get the best of him at good moments, he is damn near unstoppable. Look at Michigan. Look at how well he was there. Look at the win he had at Kansas. When he's on it, Bubba Wallace is one of the best drivers out there and has some of the best equipment out there. But when he is down, you see what happened today. You see what happened with Kyle Larson at Las Vegas last year. So it's definitely something that's going to need to be worked on. By the way, end of the poll, it leaned towards 85% of you saying yes. I'm surprised 15 said no. I guess I can add more. I'll add another poll here. Let's see. How about this? I'm gonna add a poll while we're talking more about this, and then we can get to some of these super chats on NASCAR's overtime policy. So I'm gonna put scheduled distance as one OT, 3 OT, or unlimited OT. Sorry, I'm just having fun with it. All right, so NASCAR's overtime policy. Scheduled distance, 1 overtime, 3 overtimes, or unlimited overtimes. Let's see what you guys got. Asking you now. And oh, there we go. My notes almost fell off. I don't know if y'all saw that, but that was a pretty good catch on my end. And by the way, with over 600 watching, be sure to lick that like button. Let's get those likes as much as possible. By the way, thank you, Doggo, for the $5 super chat. Coming from Cota, as a Tyler Reddick fan, this is a dream come true. Let's go win a championship. Woo! I was at Road America last year when he won, and I saw some Reddick fans, and it's got to be awesome. It has got to be awesome, I think, to be there when your driver wins. I've been there once when my driver won at Michigan in 2012, and it was a dream come true. So enjoy it. Enjoy this as it goes, because you never know. It might be the only time, maybe the first time of like 20 times you see your driver win. You don't know. So enjoy it while it lasts. Kevin, thank you for the 5. The final laps of Cota was more of a train wreck than the East Palestine derailment. Those wrecks were unnecessary. NASCAR Fanatic 2425, thank you for the 2. MJ should definitely be concerned about Bubba. I think he should step in. MJ has had some of the best when it comes to being hard-headed and keeping your eye on the prize in all of sports history. There's nobody I think that's better to learn from on that part. Where'd it go? I had like a note put up here, and it went away. Oops, is what it is. So yeah, so that pretty much ended stage 1, and with it, William Byron would win the stage. He got the 10 points plus the playoff point, which will be needed after the penalty, especially if it's not rescinded in any way on Wednesday, because that's happening Wednesday. Then you got second was Cindric, AJ Allmendinger third. Then you got Alex Bowman fourth. Fifth was Chastain. Suarez in sixth. Seventh, Kyle Busch. Jordan Taylor, eighth place in the first stage. Christopher Bell, ninth. And Ryan Preece gets a stage point in that one. Really good there. And then you go to stage two. You got Larson. Yeah, I think Larson also spun out. Blaney. There was a lot of spin outs. You had LaJoy, who was dragging a diffuser, posted. There was so much going on. It's hard to keep track of, to be completely honest. It really is. But we're not going to count all that. I mean, the only real big thing that I saw was under green. There was a 28-second stop for Cindric. There were some guys that were caught speeding, but nothing that really derailed the race all that much. But stage two ended like this, with Reddick getting the stage win and Austin Dillon second. Third was McDowell. Fourth, Kevin Harvick. Fifth was Buescher. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. sixth. Seventh, Kyle Larson. Eric Jones eighth. Briscoe ninth. And Gregson 10th. Hold on a second. Oh, man. I needed that. And then, by the way, letting you guys know for the chat, you are 25 points behind Eric, I think, at the moment when it comes to pick points for the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. So, yeah, there's that. Congrats, you get that. But then you got the final stage, and most of the time I take notes. It's like the first page, and then like maybe to here on the second part. Look at it right now. Any way you want. There were a ton of notes I took on this because everything just hit the freaking fan at the end of this race in the final stage. You had guys on 2-stop strategies, 3-stop strategies. You had, guys like Larson who were too fast on pit road. Gibbs cutting the S's, twice cutting the S's, and still coming back for a top 10 finish. You had Reddick flying through the field mid-race. There was a debris caution on lap 41 for dirt on the track. Now, I'm going to say this clear as day because I know you guys have a sense of humor and Twitter doesn't. And I should have known that because Twitter is just sucks. I hate Twitter. And so for you guys who have started watching after 2016, debris yellows are what stage cautions were before stage cautions were a thing. I now will also say that was a warranted caution. That dirt on the track, it was spinning out cars. It was all over. I get it. But that kind of changed the complexion of the race. And I like that joke in the chat from Mike saying, some say the race is still going to this day. I love that. But I think it was a warranted caution, personally. Understand why people might be a little upset, but it is what it is. So with 25 to go, you have a pretty clean restart. And you have this awesome battle. I mean, beautiful racing between William Byron and Tyler Reddick, where they're setting each other up for different corners so that, yeah, you're in the outside on one corner, but then you get the inside on like a hairpin. You get a crossover move, and they did this for 2 or 3 straight laps, and it was amazing to watch. It was beautiful racing, in my opinion. Some of the most fun I've had watching road course racing in a long time. And I loved every bit of it. I loved it. That kind of racing should be the norm. That is NASCAR racing right there. It's just gorgeous racing. I cannot talk good enough about how much I loved those two battling with respect, with great racecraft. It was everything I could ask for. Just perfect. But ultimately, Reddick had the faster car. Byron, for as much finesse as he was able to put into that and to make it work, he could not keep Reddick back. And then with 20 to go, You had a little more issues here. You had a broken toe link for Kyle Larson, putting him at the time 3 laps down. Remember, this guy who was 3 laps down with 20 to go finished 14th and was charging through the pack at the end of the race. So there's that. And then you started getting into a fuel lottery, a fuel mileage race, tire strategy. You had a 4-car race setting up between Tyler Reddick and William Byron, Ross Chastain, and Daniel Suarez. Suarez, best of the best on the fuel, had probably fuel to the end, was charging, trying to make those guys at the start or at the front race harder than they actually needed to. Then you had on the cut line was Ross Chastain. He was right there trying to do the same thing, but it was iffy on fuel for him. Then you had the 2 leaders, the 45 and the 24. They had to save a lap, 3.5 miles of fuel, and it was setting up to be a classic finish. Until Brad Keselowski either got spun, stopped on the track, whatever, he brought a caution out. Brad Keselowski's caution, whether it was, something he did or mechanical, whatever, I did not catch that. I apologize to you guys now. But that changed the race, and it made him, in my opinion, go from hero to zero in a week for a lot of fans. It's a lot of fans on all platforms mad at him, even if it wasn't his fault, I don't think. And that changed the race. And we will get right into that in a second. I want to get to these 2 super chats. One from B1624 for 10, saying, some on Twitter said the race was boring. If you don't take advantage of the free scanner and in-car cameras, you're missing so much of the strategy that goes on. Fully agree, and this is why NASCAR should never look at Twitter for any of their decisions, because Twitter sucks. I hate Twitter, man, because as much as good that can be done on that, I think that Twitter definitely serves to the crowd that does not appreciate strategy all that much, and I love strategy race. Andrew, thank you for the 2. NASCAR needed to Josh Williams half the field today. Towards the end, and we will get to that in a moment. Fred Dog 81, thank you for the 2 as well. Chase dud on commentary. Kurt, great, emotional. And okay, we can talk when we're taking a break between the first half, which I thought was goated racing, to the second half, which was Indy Road Course 2000 and 2022 or 2022. I'm gonna say this. I thought the broadcast today was the best presented broadcast Fox has had, honestly, this year easily, and possibly since pre-COVID. I'm not saying it was great. I thought it was good, though. I thought the production was much better. I thought the commentary was better on all fronts, and I don't think that Chase was a dud. I honestly thought Chase's input was really good. You can have people who have more of what's the word? Not dry persona, but more of a level-headed one that's not, whoa, guard wall, like stuff like that. And I think Chase was pretty good, for how they used him. I thought the booth was a little overstuffed. I think that maybe, having people come in and out here and there would have been better than having like 5 people giving their commentary at once. There's a lot of talking over each other, but they did get a rhythm built up. I thought the coverage of the fuel strategy was pretty good, to be honest. And it's like, wow, amazing. You switch some of this stuff up. You have really great racing. Everything's better. I thought the racing itself was the best racing we've seen this year. At least those first 50 laps or whatever. But that I had fun today. I did. And there's things that I probably can nitpick. But there was nothing to me that was glaring today. I actually liked what they did with the yellow and green bar during the race. I think that listening to the input that fans gave, good input, here's the good that Twitter can do, was really good, because the green was made darker, made the yellow stand out. You could tell what the flow of the race was throughout the race. You could see, and I like that, because I think when you tune in, like if I miss the first 60 laps of a race, I want to know if I tune in and it's a complete dumpster fire, or if I'm coming into a race that's been clean and green. What's the flow of the race? I think for those who are hardcore racing fans, you can use that in a lot of ways. So again, I can be nitpicking, and there's things that they can improve. It was not going back to the early 2010s into the 2000s Fox era, but it was better than serviceable, honestly. I actually really liked it. So, say what you want, call me a NASCAR shill, do whatever you want. I don't care. That's my opinion on it. I'm going to end the poll while we go to this next one. We had almost 600 votes and a tie for 27% each. Very split on this one. Well, actually 26% each for 1 and 3 overtimes, 24% for unlimited overtimes, and 22% is an old head like me and wants the scheduled distance. So very interesting split. I like it. We are rerunning this poll on Wednesday night on my channel. For all you who watch the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, I love that. I love that kind of split because it makes the conversation very interesting. And let's get into the interesting part of the conversation. Let's talk about the absolute train wreck that kind of we watched in both fast speed and slow motion. Here we go. I'm gonna take a drink of water for this one because I need to be ready to talk, because I like talking about this kind of stuff. This to me is fun. And by the way, thank you so much for everybody watching and liking. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. We do this every week that we're not at the track, which I will say I'll be doing this next week. And for Bristol, won't be doing it for Martinsville. We'll be at Martinsville. I'll have more information on that through the week, or at least this week, next week. I don't know. Be sure to pay attention. I think it's going to be pretty cool, and I think you guys are all going to have a lot of fun. By the way, also go to the Daily Downforce, who has really helped me out recently. They got a lot of cool stuff, articles, opinions, stats. They have me on there, as well as some other creators. Really fun, and we may be getting a merch store put up. So if you want to give some ideas, let me know for sure. Alex, thank you for the 2. Did you see Suarez get into Bowman on pit road? I did not see that. I may have missed it if it was on the broadcast, just because I was setting stuff up and I was back and forth. But yeah, I did not see that. I'll definitely have to go back and check it out. So let's get to it. We had pit stops right before the restart with 9 to go. 5 drivers stayed out in this one. Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kimi Räikkönen, and Ryan Preece. Chastain also had a bad stop there that may have cost him the race. And then off the pits, it was the 45, 24, 99, 48, 3, 34, 19, 16, 22, and the 4. And I will get to those super chats in a moment. I want to get through this, though. I want to say with those that stayed out, it's very interesting how the strategy worked out for them. So you had Kyle Busch finishing second. He stayed out. Then you had, let's see, Christopher Bell ended up 31st. At least unofficially. It might have changed since then. Denny Hamlin, he ended up 16th. Kimi Räikkönen ended up 27th. And Ryan Preece crashed out, finished 32nd. So very different on how that all shook out. And yeah, so very interesting how that happened. And the restart goes green with 9 to go. And you have immediately the 1, the 3, and the 16 around. Chastain they said maybe had a something broke in the rear. Nothing really did. And the caution comes out. And we know at this point what's probably going to happen. We really do. Hold on, I see that in the chat. I'm at least gonna have it open. I don't think I'm gonna play it because I do not want to. I don't want to blow everybody's ears out. But let's see. I'm watching right now the Suarez deal. Let's see, going up through the pack, going right to pit road. Well, I saw we got into Chastain too. Wow. Oh, geez. Okay. I don't like getting into people when there's officials walking on pit road. I am not a fan of that. I get that these are the best guys in the world, but I don't like when there are people active on pit road and they're starting to make contact with each other. That's get onto them on the track all you want, but when there are people on a live hot pit road, I don't like that, especially when that official was there at the entrance. So I'm not. I like the I like the aggression. I like the showing your displeasure. Do it on the track. If you're gonna do it anywhere, do it on the track, or even better, talk it out, yell it out, fight it out, man to man. I do not like. For those of you who haven't seen, Suarez coming into pit road, one, he hit Ross and got Ross out of the way, his teammate. So I don't know if that was mad or he just wanted him to get the hell out of his way. But coming onto pit road, he starts bumping Bowman and bumping him onto the pits and through the pits a little bit. And again, I'm not crazy about that just because there was an official standing right there. I know that nothing happened, but just we've seen things happen before and they haven't been great. So I don't know if that's a penalty or not. Maybe it'll be a fine, which will add to the charity fund or wherever they put it now. But yeah, I mean, I was cool with it until they got into the pits. But anyway, going back to the next restart with 7 to go after the caution with 9 to go, which I gotta say, good job on them for making that quick compared to a lot of cautions at Cota. But the 45 misses the corner and Byron goes to the lead, right? Bell gets spun around. He's all over. And then it's just the 45 and the 24 racing again for the win. 5 to go, though. Reddick gets past the 24. Byron trying to put Chase in. But 4 to go, you have a caution for Dylan. And we go to the first NASCAR overtime. And here is where I think a lot of people are going to kind of go crazy about this stuff and be back and forth on it. But I'm going to get to some of these super chats where they pile up too awful much. I think Alex was the last one I had seen, the $2 one. Did I see Suarez on pit road with Bowman? Did. Nathan, thank you for the 2. How about LaJoy coming back from -2 to P11? Yeah, Corey LaJoy, I don't think he's going to make the playoffs this year. But the fact that he's probably going to be in contention for a playoff spot points-wise through the first quarter of the season is pretty impressive for Spire of all teams. So, no, we cannot overstate how good that team has been in comparison to the past. And I remember back in 2019 when Justin Haley won with that team, with a 77, I believe. And there were people who were saying that this team is a waste of space, they should shut down, all that. So good on Spire for building into something very respectable out there. I don't think it's going to last all season. I think that the equipment they have, and the equipment they have, the wear and tear it'll put the smaller team. I don't think that's going to be necessarily something that happens throughout the season, or it's not going to be something competitive throughout the season. But I think that it's a huge step up, and that's all I can ask personally. And thank you, Eric W., for the 10 new members. We got a ton of members. And again, this week I'm going to be putting out a members-only post. So I'm going to make sure that you guys that are members get the best of the best this month. MM Martin fan for life, thank you for the $4.99. Today showed the problem is camera work and not the booth. They kept talking about Calamity in turn 1, and the camera would never show it. Okay, that is one thing I was not crazy about. They definitely need to have a turn 1 camera ready to go on that stuff. But if that is the biggest issue, I think that, seemed like Mike Joy has chilled out a little bit. So if somebody wants to respectfully tweet him about that, that can be something that they can do before. Or they can do. Because it worked this week, at least with the ticker. So good call there. You are right about that one. I'm not, so I guess I should say that's not nitpicking. That is a genuine concern that needs to be addressed. Not crazy about the way that they, not crazy about the way that they, cover the wrecks a lot. I think that the wrecks need to be covered better. So yeah, I mean that I guess that can be the biggest concern. But I still think that today Fox was much better than they've been so far this year. Let's see. So we got through overtime, or we got to overtime number 1. Tons of cars go around in turn 1. Complete calamity. Reddick goes to the lead, and caution's out for Blaney with debris from the caution and the flat tire. Sucks. It sucks, but we go to overtime 2. The 45 and the 8 get beside each other. 45 gets clear. Debris yellow again. So overtime number 3 happens. And we get the 45 clear. 48 there, but isn't able to stay up with him. And we have a pile-up wreck. But the race finally ends. Thankfully ends. So that is the race. At least going through all of it. I don't have the points on me. I can actually probably look it up if you want. Man, something's in my throat this weekend. I'm just not on it. I don't know what's up, but let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to find it. I'm seeing the big debate is about green-white checkers and all that crap. We'll talk about that all week. You know where I stand on it personally. But I'm trying to find the point standings. I think Jayski probably will have them. Jayski's awesome. Let's see what we got. Let's see where we got. Cup results. Unofficial point standings. Here we go. So, wow. Alex Bowman is already up to 16th, even with the penalty. If not for that penalty, he would have a 15-point lead over Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain, by the way, is your points leader. Followed by Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, and Tyler Reddick, 10th in points. Then you got Hamlin, Stenhouse, Buescher, Suarez, LaJoie, and Bowman, 16th. And let's see, the winners were... It's getting harder to remember all of the winners actually at the moment. The winners were Byron, because he got 2, Busch, Stenhouse. Who am I forgetting? I'm probably forgetting. It's hard as hell to follow these things when you don't have all of it up for you. I'll apologize now. But interestingly, Kyle Larson still 27th in the point standings, and Justin Haley minus 7 points still. Justin Haley still has negative points. For another week, will have more points than Justin Haley. So there's that. Let's look at some of these super chats here. From Marky Mark, that's what we'll start off with again. So no stage cautions at all tracks, or no? I hope so. From there, you got Napa Racing Fan 927 for 2. Thank you. Will HMS and colleague get penalties rescinded or reduced? I don't think so. A lot of people do. We'll find out Wednesday. I'm interested to see what the full appeal looks like. Again, thank you, Eric W., for another 10 gifted members. So 20 on this stream alone. Thank you. Red Dog 81, thank you for the 5. So, how does Denny Hamlin explain spinning Larson into his own driver, Bubba, as Chastain's fault in the next episode of his podcast? I'll say this about that whole deal. I don't know why Bubba, maybe it's because he didn't get cleared off, but he was in the racing groove dumping oil onto the track. So, I don't blame Larson. I don't blame Hamlin. Larson was trying to avoid him. Hamlin was there. Not crazy to look at, honestly. It happens. That stuff happens. I don't blame the 11 or the 5. But yeah, I will be interested to see if Hamlin blames Chastain in some way for it. Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you for the 5. How many road courses should be on the NASCAR schedule? Cup has 6, Xfinity has 8, Trucks have 2. Bring back the Brickyard 400, replace Chicago with Road America. I'd say probably 4 or 5. I definitely think they tested a little too far on it, and now they're kind of reverting back. But I'm going to say this now. Cota needs to stay for 30 years on the NASCAR schedule for if, my pick of this. I think that Cota is it's one of my top 5 favorite tracks. From being there, the experience in person is amazing. From watching on TV, they've had great finishes and great racing. I have not been disappointed with a Cota weekend yet. It's 3 years now, and I've never been disappointed with a Cota race. Having been there, having watched on TV, and I can tell you now, whether it's media or just as a fan, I want to go to Cota again next year. I wish I would have went this year because it looked like a ton of fun. I can't wait to hear Eric's take on how it was in person. It looked like there were more people than the previous year at Cota. Yeah, but it looked empty at different points. I get that, but it did disperse through the race, and that's how road courses are. You move around at road courses. It's how Road America was. Like, if you look at aerials of Road America, it does not look like there were 100,000 people there, but there were. So I loved it. But Claire, I'd say 2021 wasn't. I didn't think it was as bad in person. Honestly, I thought it was crazy in person, but fun. Daniel says Brickyard hasn't had a sellout in a few years. Why would it be different now? Well, who cares if it's a sellout? Sellouts honestly don't freaking matter. Attendance matters in the atmosphere of the race itself as a fan when you're there, and maybe with the you mic up the crowd. Attendance doesn't matter for decision making, unless it's like the finale. Make sure it's a track that doesn't have a ton of seats, so it looks full. But attendance doesn't matter for decision making. TV ratings does. But if everything's down, how are you gonna really say that one or the other should be taken off or whatever? But I don't think the point of the Brickyard being brought back is like that there would be a sellout. I don't think you're gonna have 300,000 people show up like back in the day. The point of bringing the Brickyard back for a lot of people is that it would be bringing a crown jewel back that the drivers want, a lot of fans want. So there is that. Plus, I think I was reading a super chat when I said that. Let's see what else we got. Looking in the chat, a lot of people like having Cota for other series too. Let's see. Ricardo says Indy Oval over Road Course. A lot of people saying that. Some are saying Indy Road Course over Indy Oval. Interesting there. Listen, I was somebody who was pro going to the road course, and maybe if they want to switch it off every other year, they do it, sure. But it definitely wasn't too crazy. Robert in the chat saying, did anyone else hear Mike Joy coming for F1's jugular at the beginning of the race? Yeah, that was. Listen, if you want to make quippy comments, make those ones. NASCAR fans, we eat that shit up. So I'm cool with that. I'm kind of with Allie here though. Also, Brickyard 400 be better race with this car. I won't say it would be better necessarily. I would want to see the racing first, but that's the thing. I want to see the racing with this car. And I'll say this too. I believe that the package they used today was the same package that was like that short track road course package. I don't know if it's going to work at the short tracks. We saw it at Phoenix. It was mid at best, but that's just Phoenix. Phoenix is a mid track. I thought the racing product was great. The racing itself, not the crazy restarts or the overtimes, the racing. So, thank you, by the way, to the mods. Thank you very much. You guys are doing awesome today. But yeah, I thought the racing was great. And I think that it's a pretty good package, at least so far. We'll see at the other road courses. We'll see this week at Richmond on FS1. Remember, it is FS1, you guys. So be sure to if you can't see it on TV, I believe I don't know where the international feed is, but you can probably find it somewhere. But there's another super chat here. Thank you for the 5 from Antar Das. We need a rotation of road courses. I want to see Road Atlanta, Long Beach, Sebring, Laguna Seca, and Barber. America has plenty of good road courses. I'd be cool with that. I think that you need to keep some. Watkins Glen, the fans show up in droves on TV and in person alike for Watkins Glen um, compared to other road courses. Sonoma, just it's an SMI track, you're gonna keep it. But from there, yeah, maybe 1 year you have when the Chicago Street Course runs its course, you funny, you run out to Road America again or Chicagoland. Bring it back. Maybe for instance you go out to Road Atlanta instead of the second Atlanta date during the season. I think maybe having Laguna Seca for one instead of Sonoma 1 year. Long Beach, a lot of people I've heard want. Sebring, I know a lot of people have talked about that, and I guess they have like a similar atmosphere from people who have been there have told me to what Road America had. So that'd be cool. CTMP would be good. Montreal would be good. So I would be cool with the rotation of road courses. I really would. I think that'd be a really cool idea to start with, and to get out to other markets, but also markets that people who are racing fans are out to. So yeah, I love that. Again, let's bring these good ideas together. Because who knows, maybe somebody's watching who could make a difference, and maybe they're trying that already. Who knows? There's a lot of ideas I think NASCAR would probably be willing to try. Let's look at some of these other chats and stuff, and super chats too. Also, I say I missed one from Marky Mark for 2. I may skip my melatonin for Richmond. Okay, I'll say this. I thought that Richmond last year was honestly all right. I thought the fuel mileage game was fun. I thought the racing was better, at least than Gen 6. Oh, that's not saying much. I mean, it's like saying, hey, this fridge with some food that may or may not be expired smells better than crap. So we'll see if it improves more. And I think it's going to be a big test this weekend. Looking at the upcoming races, that's going to be interesting to look at too. By the way, upcoming as well is on this Wednesday on my channel. We're doing the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, so that'll be a lot of fun. But upcoming races, we have 5 races in April, and I love this part of the schedule. I think NASCAR honestly, since I started watching, I think NASCAR is nailed the start of the season schedule. And that's all the way back almost 20 years. They're just always, I think NASCAR's always been good at getting off the ball quick with at least the racing product. So next week we're going to be at Richmond for the Cup Series. And I believe the Xfinity and then the trucks will be at Texas, I think. I think so. Then Easter Sunday, which is only 2 weeks from today, we got the Bristol Dirt Race. Then you got Martinsville the Sunday afterwards. Bristol Dirt's on Fox, by the way. Martinsville FS1. Then, about 4 weeks from today, we have Talladega Superspeedway. And then after that, we got Dover on FS1 to end the month of April. So I think good little streak of tracks. And I think you're really going to start seeing solidified the playoff field of like who's getting some of these wins. But I think you're going to see solidified who is going to be on that cut line for points through the summer. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. You don't want to miss any of it, which, again, while you watch podcasts, while you watch these post-race streams, we're going to talk about all of these races in one way or another. Also, letting you guys know as well that I believe it is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, April 4th on IDK Players channel. I'll be co-commentating with them the iRacing series that me and him have, the NR Cup Series. One hot night, 400 miles at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and then 2 weeks after that, we're on this channel for the last 5 races of the series. 6 races to go. We got 13 drivers still in the championship hunt within a race. No chase, no playoffs. We are going straight up points on this one. So it's going to be a ton of fun. I want to see all y'all there. And come out and force on this channel and that channel as well. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to hope that my voice makes it all the way through. Looking at some of these, let's see you guys have in the chat. Anything else you want to go over before we go over everything else? I agree, paid guitar. IDK does rock. I hope, John, if you're watching, you rock. One hot night. Yeah, we are doing a one hot night e-ticket event, 40 drivers, next-gen cars, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I've enjoyed doing this series so far, and these drivers have not disappointed whatsoever. Gosh, if I just picked... Oh, yes. The NASCAR driver draft will also be, I believe, the Saturday, the same weekend as the NFL draft. So I think Saturday, we might just do like a post race after the Xfinity race and then do a quick turnaround and do the NASCAR driver draft. We'll see. I will let you guys know for sure. And Antar says Mike Joy accidentally said Reddick won at Kansas. I mean, Reddick's car did. I'll say this. Kurt Busch getting emotional actually kind of made me feel emotional just because after watching through the 2000s and the 2010s and seeing everything he went through and the way his career is pretty much ended. Maybe he'll come back for some kind of part-time. But it does, I have to admit, as a longer time fan, it makes me kind of emotional seeing just how much of his heart he's still put into it and is putting into 2311. So that was... I think that was awesome stuff to see and hear. We need emotion. Thank you, Jay Land, for that comment there. Jarrett 90K should be in the NASCAR booth, though today's booth was really good. I don't know about that, but I'd be fine doing commentary, plug and play kind of stuff. That'd be fun. Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you for the 2 favorite NHRA team driver. The Forces are your favorite. I mean, I grew up with my grandpa having John Force stuff everywhere. So I feel like I have to say John Force. Is he? I'll ask because I know he had said something about retirement. Did he already retire or is he doing it? Like, when's that going? I have not been able to keep up on NHRA the way I want to because I want to make videos on NHRA soon. Just here and there because I think it's very interesting. But I'd say John Force. But I don't know if he's still racing or not. Is what it is. Let's see what else we got here. Best driver this year so far from Lucas UGA fan. I mean, it's got to be William Byron so far. 2 wins, racing up front all the time. If you're looking at consistency, Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman's been consistently the best. I believe he has 5 top 10s in 6 races. So there's a lot to look at. Okay, good. John Force is still running. Awesome. Then yeah, John Force would be my guy. And it's just because I grew up with John Force racing. Let's see what else we got. Barn Don says, join late. Crazy how 99% of the race was great until Brad K caution. Yeah. I can agree with that. Listen, I don't think that the ending ruined the race. It wasn't a great look at the end. If you're asking me, we go to scheduled distance. Not all races have to end under green. Because how much money do you think a lot of these teams saved today with cost cutting? That's kind of how I put it. I'd be fine even if you had it as 1 green white checker. You get your chance, but if y'all can't be under control, that's on y'all. Yeah, Grover Cleveland, he is 73 years old. What about Kyle Busch in second? I mean, good run on Kyle Busch's part, but I just don't think that he had anything for Reddick the way that I don't think he had anything for Reddick. Personally, I think Reddick was just in a league of his own that only William Byron could honestly get into. MVR owner, if Top Gun got a sequel, will Days of Thunder possibly have a sequel with Tom Cruise? I would hope so, but probably not. I'll be real. I feel like if they made a sequel of it, it'd be Tom Cruise somehow being put into F1. It's just NASCAR isn't the up and coming racing series the way it was in the 90s. So I don't think they would. If they did, though, it could be it could be a flash in the pan, or it could be a big boost. Who knows? Dylan says they should make more super speedways. No, they should not. 6 races is too many. They should have stuck with 4 super speedways. So, let's see. Is LaJoy good enough to point his way into the playoff spot without a win? No, I don't think so. I just don't think it's sustainable. I think he's a top 20, 23 kind of driver. Very specific. But I don't think that team is going to have the sustained push, personally. I don't think NASCAR had the same energy it had in 91. I mean, there is some good energy building up still. I'm not going to say it's dead like everyone wants to say. It seems like, but I don't see it having that same come up energy that it did in the 90s. That's just, to me, that's how it is at this point. Noah, 6 is quite enough. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there should be even 6. And if they make Texas a super speedway, I don't like that either. Super speedway racing is awesome. It's legitimately the most unique kind of racing to NASCAR. Nobody else has this kind of racing. But it doesn't mean that we should overdo it. We learned this with the road courses, having too many road courses. So there's that. By the way, be sure to like up the stream. Subscribe if you're new. Like I said, we do this pretty much every week. I'm not at the track. So be sure to subscribe. We just got over 61.7. We are less than 300 away from 62,000. I want to hit that. I want to hit that subscriber mark, honestly, before we go live after Richmond next week. Which, by the way, I should let you know, next week, you're going to be seeing a little bit of a throwback if you're a longer time viewer on the channel. And it's this. It's that we are going to be back in the garage, at least for the Cup race. I don't know about the other ones. I'm playing it by ear. I got to carry a lot of equipment across the country with where I'm going, so I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna be at least in the garage for that post race with instead of a checkered blue and black checker flag behind me, we're gonna have the old Chevelle in the background. So cool stuff there. I can't wait. It's been it's been what, 4 months since I've been back at my old at my parents' place. So find longer time viewer, a viewer who's been watching for about a year or more. I don't know about the UFO. We'll be adding more emojis and different things for you members, by the way. But yeah, we'll be back in the garage, baby. So I'll let you know now. Probably not gonna have the same kind of lighting we have here. But there's gonna be a lot, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But unless there's anything else you want to go through at the last minute, I think that about covers it. We got the podcast on. Oh, hey, Baloney Burger, how's it going, man? Good to see you. But we got the podcast coming on Wednesday night on this channel in this place. And then a lot of fun post race stuff. And before we head out, I should check. Brock Beard is live. I would love if you guys want to head over to Brock Beard's stream when we end this one out here. We're going to end it out right now, I think. So thank you guys so much again for watching. Can't wait to talk to you next week. Let's go over to Brock's channel for his post-race coverage. He has awesome content over there. And I believe he just put a newer video out too. So yeah, go over to his live stream. Be sure to give him donations if you want to give anyone some. And let's keep the conversation going over there. So see y'all next week, and see y'all this week on Wednesday. Stay safe and have a good night. Later, guys.